Hi, everybody. It's great to be back in this area. I've been here many, many times. I've been into a lot of programs at MD Anderson, the Cancer Center, because I work with the Colon Cancer Alliance. And some of you may have been at last year's Live Well Conference. I think I was in Beaumont last year. And it's just a delight whenever I'm allowed to come and talk to a group about how to maintain some balance in our life these days and make sure that we keep ourselves healthy. And so today I want to talk about us. And for a few of the men in the room, believe me, talking about us, about women is important because when we're having it, you're having it. They all agree with that. Life has changed really very, very dramatically for women in this country over the past 4 decades. And I'm looking around and I see some of you who are more my age that will remember and understand really how life is so different today. And you know, I think about when I first came out of college and was looking for a job, and it was in the 1970s, and there was a woman named Betty Friedan. Some of you will remember that she wrote that book called The Feminine Mystique. And it really said that women in this country were unhappy, unfulfilled, and you know, and it sparked a national debate that is still going on today. And so she created NOW, the National Organization of Women. I interviewed her a gazillion times over my tenure, and she basically said that she created NOW so that women would have better paying jobs, more fulfilling jobs, and an opportunity to have a career, make a difference in the world, as opposed to just being servicing men and children. And if we got that, we would all be happy. Okay, so let's fast forward 40 years, shall we? Well, first of all, let's say that, look, today over a dozen women are running the governments of large countries. You know, Ireland, New Zealand, Germany, Mozambique, just to name a few. And this last year, we saw the wife of one of our U.S. presidents almost become president herself, and then she became Secretary of State, and she replaced another woman, Condoleezza Rice. And today, more women are earning college degrees in every single category. And in fact, 4 of the 8 Ivy League universities, Harvard, Brown, Penn, and Princeton, have female presidents. So women have really come a long way. I don't know if the feminists of the 60s would have really thought that in this year that women would actually outnumber men in the workforce. It's about 51, almost 52% now. I think more importantly, the figure I'm always taken by is that 75% of women who have children under the age of 2 hold down jobs outside the house. And that changes everything. On average, we contribute about 40% to our family's annual income. And, you know, what happens is that I don't think it's just about the economic contribution, though, that we make anymore. You know, we work because it becomes part of our definition of self. We work to obtain status and power and financial independence and to be stimulated and to have an opportunity to maybe make a difference in this world of ours. So, given all the evidence that women are running corporations and media empires and countries, one would think that they would be happier. However, every year in this country, our government conducts these surveys when they do the census, and they ask men and women, how happy are you? And this is pretty much the most reliable data that we have where we can look at happiness levels from decade to decade. And since the early 70s, the level of women's happiness has dropped consistently year after year. So you have to ask why. And by the way, the results are the same regardless of whether the woman is working or has children or how much money she's making, whether she's single, married, or divorced. So today, I think we really are challenged in how to build meaningful careers and maybe make a difference in this world of ours and your community while still being able to raise families and cook dinner. But of course, I'm always reminded, Ginger Rogers did everything that Fred Astaire did, only she did it backwards and in 3-inch heels. That's true. But I really think that the question before women today is, now that we have it all, how do we do it all? How do we do it all without being stressed out and overwhelmed and exhausted? And also, if you look at women today, you know, as a whole, yes, we're better educated. Yes, we have better paying jobs. Most of us are having fewer kids. I know I really screw up that average. And by the way, no matter what you can stand up here and say I did, whether, you know, 20 years on Good Morning America, you know, training with the Navy SEALs, whatever it is, it's always those 7 kids that get me the applause. But if you look a little bit closer at all the statistics for women today, you also will see that we have less free time, more stress, less sex, and more divorce, and more heart disease. We are less fit and healthy than women were 40 years ago. We are trying to be super mom and super wife, hold down a job outside the home while still cooking, cleaning, chauffeuring, and everything else. So it's not surprising that so many women are, you know, stressed out and unfit and sometimes overweight and sometimes prone to a lot of different diseases. So it's a deadly combination that I think that we really need to address head on in this country. Studies show consistently that women, particularly working mothers, manage their time by reducing their sleep and eliminating their personal time. And I think that in order to stay healthy, we really need to pay attention to our own health and well-being, and we need to take time outs to recharge. But women, I don't think, pay enough attention to their own health and wellness. And look, I'm the first to say that I've been there and I've been out and I've been running around taking care of everybody else in my life and not myself. And that's why I think it's important for all of us to share our stories and share our struggles as well as our successes. I remember the day that I started the juggling act of working and being a mom. Actually, I was a reporter in New York City. I was 20-something. Sitting at my typewriter. That's all we did. You can Google that to see what it looks like. And I got a call, and it was my agent telling me that I had the job at Good Morning America as the host. And about 30 minutes later, I got another call, and it was my gynecologist telling me that I was pregnant with my first child. In 30 minutes, my life had become this mixture of delight and dilemma. And, you know, I wasn't quite sure what they were going to do about that, because I had my eyes on the morning job for quite a while. I'd been filling in for other hosts. And I'm sure that the ABC executives had more than a few discussions about my wonderful baby news. But eventually, I stepped into the role as host of Good Morning America, and then little by little, I would learn about this other new role, that role of working mom. Did you ever hear the joke, there's a Jewish mother and she buys her son 2 ties? So now one night, he's going to go to dinner at her house. He wants to make her happy, so he puts on one of the ties. She opens the door and says, "But you didn't like the other tie?" As a working mom, you always feel like that guy. You always feel like you should be wearing the other tie. And we so often find ourselves saying, can we really do it all? Now, of course, to me, that's kind of a working mommy dilemma that so many women deal with today. I remember when I first started at Good Morning America, there was so much written about how I was bringing my babies to work with me because I was breastfeeding and I was handling it all. Now, I will remember one particular morning on Good Morning America when I had my little daughter Jamie. She came to work with me my first day there at 8 weeks old. And I was interviewing, I don't remember who it was, but some senator about then President Ronald Reagan's trickle-down economic theory. When all of a sudden I experienced inflation and trickle-down in a whole new way. Now, fortunately, I was wearing a silk blouse, nobody saw it, and I went grabbed a blow dryer, and as they say, the show went on. But that's the kind of thing that women have to deal with all the time. And now I'm here to say that I want you to put one more thing into your busy schedule, and that is self-care, and that is fitting your own health into your to-do list, because we're so good at these to-do lists. But we're not so great at putting ourselves on the to-do list. Now, a lot of people always wonder, where the heck does my big interest come from in health? And because a lot of things I do these days, I do a show on Lifetime called Health Corner. I do a show on RLTV called Taking Care, all about family caregiving. I hear a lot of you are dealing with this issue. We're going to be shooting a new season of programming in the fall on the issue. In fact, I was just in LA on Tuesday night. We received a Gracie Award for the show Family Caregiving. I'm working on the next Chicken Soup for the Soul book right now, which is also going to be on family caregiving.